What's going on, Supreme fans? Welcome back to another epic episode from your favorite entertainment channel on YouTube, The Supreme. I'm your host, Matty Wills, and today we'll be discussing some of the rarest and most unexplained footage with today's title, Mysterious Moving Statues That Science Can't Explain. Want to become part of the Supreme team? Make sure to subscribe down below with notifications on so you don't miss anything we post each day. Let's get rolling. The twirling Egyptian statue. All right, ladies and gents, let's kick things off right here. Now, before we get all the way into this thing today, I've got to fair warn everybody. This video is about to get weird, and I'm sure you could have guessed that when you clicked on the title. We'll start here in the Manchester Museum, who has a very impressive assortment of statues for everyone to see. But there's one particular Egyptian statue that really had a pretty insane day. In security footage from 2013, you can see in this time-lapsed video that there's a statue here that throughout the day, this statue rotates its body all the way around, even pausing to face the opposite direction of the customers in the middle of the day. Now, what in the heck is going on here? Of course, this video, like many other videos you'll see today, has been met with plenty of skepticism. But when you look at it and understand that this is time-lapsed footage that was shot over hours and hours, there's just no way that this is staged. And say what you want, but the fact that this thing turned to face away from the customers is super creepy. So then what's going on? Now, let's hold up just a second before we move on. I've got to show you guys this image that was recently discovered by the Supreme team. Check it out. At first glance, it almost appears that our beloved Statue of Liberty moved its head. But of course, after much digging around, we just couldn't find any video evidence to support that theory. So then, where in the world did this come from? If any of you out there know where this video clip is from, then please post a link down in the comments. I promise you, I will go check it out. The Sai Baba statue. So up next, before we just dive into the next moving statue, we've got to pause for a brief moment and do one of our favorite things, and that is showing some love to one of our very own special viewers. So without further delay, today's special shout out goes to none other than Christy Niederkorn, who just yesterday, after watching one of our most recent videos, left the comment saying, "Love your videos. Keep this up, bro. Hashtag Team Supreme." Hey, Christy, we won't be stopping anytime soon, and thanks so much for hanging out with us. And don't forget, tomorrow's a brand new day, so we'll have a brand new video lined up just for you. Up next, we've got more crazy and creepy footage, this time coming out of India. This Sai Baba statue, with Sai Baba being a notable Indian spiritual master who's essentially considered to be a saint, is about to do something completely unexpected. There, it appears it moves its arm in what many consider to be an effort to remove the placed decoration that was draped around its neck. Or some others believe that there was simply some sort of trembling or vibration that could have knocked down the garment. But with that explanation, that really doesn't explain why the arm appears to move on its own. So what do you think? Hey, while you think about it, we're gonna go ahead and move this video right on into the next clip. Bearing the cross. We'll keep it moving right along. Up next, we find ourselves in Mexico. There's a crowd gathered around for some kind of ceremony, and there's a very large statue of Jesus holding on to a cross. But it's what happens in a few moments that got the internet buzzing. Check it out. The head of the statue seemingly tilts on its own. What the heck is going on? Did you see it? Now, people on the scene believed it to be some sort of divine gesture from up above. Pretty creepy, right? I mean, there really doesn't appear to be any way this could have been doctored. But of course, it is 2019, so I guess anything is possible. Do you want to get a shout out in one of our daily videos? Well, don't forget to drop a comment down below with the hashtag Supreme Family. Tomorrow could be your day. Now, let's get back to the topic. Barbie's head turn. So we've seen a handful of statues that have actually moved all on their own so far in today's show. Now I want to show you a couple other objects that are not living beings, but end up moving by themselves. At least they aren't supposed to be living. Anyway, up next we have a plastic doll that's being played with by a little girl. Check it out. As she has two different dolls in both hands, you can see her making the sounds of the girls and moving them while she plays, just like any other normal child. But then there, did you see that? That little girl certainly did. After someone calls out to her from the other room, she answers them back and then looks down at the doll in her left hand, as at the same time, that doll just lifted her head and looked directly at her. She screams at one of the highest pitched screams you'll ever hear. She then jumps from the bed and the video cuts out. But man, what in the heck was that all about? Can you imagine sitting in your room and witnessing something like that firsthand? I most certainly could not. That's crazy. Just thinking about it, trying to calm down a daughter or a niece who's gone through something like that is a whole different kind of task. Another creepy doll. So we find ourselves in another unknown location, but with a different little girl who's playing with one of her dolls. Now, her mom is filming her, and no one could have guessed what would have happened on camera. Check this out. Apparently, the doll on the table in the background gets a little jealous of the doll in the girl's lap, because after just a few moments, she moved on her own. Check it out. There, did you see that? The doll appears to move its hand, all on its own, and then shove the candle laying down in front of it. Now, the crazy thing is, and this wasn't even noticed until the family watched the footage back in the television later on that night, the doll moved by itself after the little girl referred to her brand new doll as, quote, lovable. Creepy, right? Is it a coincidence that the doll seemingly moved by itself once the new doll seemed to be getting all the new attention? Or is this just a coincidence? And perhaps an open window allowed a gust of air to enter the home, causing this most unlikely event. Virgin Mary. In the mountains of Ta Pao, Vietnam back in 2007, a huge crowd of people were gathered around a giant statue of the Virgin Mary to listen to a special message. During the proceedings, a bit of chaos ensued when people started claiming that the giant statue began to suddenly start moving. The video is old and a little grainy, but you can clearly see Mary's cloak appear to float as the statue moves. This event, one that was confirmed as true by the Vietnamese government, has been viewed millions of times online, as some have accepted it as the Virgin Mary actually trying to communicate with us. But what do you think? Is this enough to prove that there is a higher power? Calcified animals. So how many of you have heard the word calcified? I know we've been talking about statues that move on camera, but we're about to swerve for a moment and show you an animal, something that at one point moved freely, that's been turned into what are essentially statues. Yeah, it's kind of freaky. And if you haven't heard of the word calcify, then that's when something is essentially turned into stone, when the properties are converted into calcium carbonate. So basically, it turns things into rocks. Check this out. There's a lake in Africa that is so rich in alkaline content that almost no living thing can survive once it comes into contact with the water. In fact, this insanely salty lake can reach temperatures up to around 140 degrees Fahrenheit. And that ain't even the freakiest part. The water is so bad for animals that the lake is home to dozens of mummified animals who've all been calcified, resulting in them appearing to essentially look like statues. These photographs, which are amazing by the way, were taken at Lake Natron in Tanzania. Freaky, right? Red tears. We'll keep it moving right along. Up next, we've got a very mysterious event that recently occurred in Bolivia. Check it out. This Virgin Mary at a local church just one day out of nowhere, just all of a sudden started crying real red tears. What appeared to be happening was that the Virgin Mary was flat out weeping blood. Samples of the liquid was actually sent off for testing, but to our knowledge, no real determination was ever made. So what do you think? Is this some sort of miracle, or is it just another hoax? Talking Jesus? So this next clip, much like a lot of the clips that we've seen so far today, we've got to just absorb with a grain of salt because we're talking about something that most people simply don't see every day. Check it out. This time around, we have a statue of Jesus Christ, and it inexplicably begins to move all by itself. What in the world is happening today? These are some of the freakiest and most unexplained videos you'll find anywhere on the internet. The question is, do you think any of this stuff is real? Because I have to tell you, it's a bit difficult for us to discern that ourselves from time to time. And of course, I'd love to live in a world where we don't have to question everything that we see and hear, but we don't. It sort of just is what it is. So, anyone out there have any direct evidence to refute this moving statue? If you do, then go ahead and share it with us down there in the comments, and we'll go ahead and gear up for the next clip. Something funny So it's been a bit of a creepy ride through today's show, so we'll go ahead and end things on a bit of a funny note for you guys. Check this out. This statue is absolutely fake, and as a matter of fact, it's just a person dressed up in clothes and makeup that make him look like he's a statue. And then when people walk past, well, he does some funny things. Check it out and try your best not to laugh. And that's today's video. If you like today's video, leave a thumbs up and share it with all your friends. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you never have to miss out on any of our interesting videos ever again.